This is 7 News.
Tonight,
Get away from the car!
4 injured in a fiery freeway crash.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Drivers rescue a teenage girl.
I just dragged her out.
Labor MPs gather in Canberra for tomorrow's leadership vote. Police dig up new leads in the hunt for a killer. And dodgy tradesmen targeted in a nationwide crackdown.
Where you go?
From the studios of 7 Perth, Sally Bowrey.
Good evening. A 16-year-old girl was pulled from the burning wreck of a car after a crash on the Kwinana freeway overnight. A father and son have told 7 News how they saved the teenager's life by dragging her out. We've carefully edited this report, but some pictures may be confronting.
Get away from the car!
The panicked seconds after a car crash that put 4 people in hospital.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
I was like in there and then that's the car.
A Holden Commodore on fire after it was hit from behind and slammed into a light pole on the Kwinana freeway. A 16-year-old girl is pulled from the wreck seconds before the car is engulfed by flames. She's conscious but has burns and broken bones.
Quick, get away from the car!
Michael Thorpe and son Kyle risked their lives to save the teenage girls.
The flames were flying through the car and there was a girl stuck in the car and I just dragged her out and it was pretty horrible. She was just, yeah, it was hard to imagine. It was a split-second decision. I got in the car and I just sort of dragged her out.
Police say the Holden was pushed off the road by a Mitsubishi 380 just north of the Mount Henry Bridge. The Mitsubishi ended up through a fence facing the other way. The 25-year-old male driver was one of the injured. Other drivers told police they saw what they think was the same Mitsubishi swerving and speeding across the Mount Henry Bridge in the moments before the crash.
When we came around the corner, there was all rubbish all over the road, like all ripped up, and then I looked at the car and it was all smashed up from behind, and then it just woofed into flames.
The 16-year-old girl was a passenger in the Holden Commodore. She's in a serious condition tonight in Royal Perth Hospital. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The scene is now set for tomorrow's leadership showdown in Canberra between Julia Gillard and Kevin Rudd. Some of Mr Rudd's backers are now conceding his resurrection is unlikely for now, with the latest count indicating his supporters are outnumbered 2-1.
Kevin Rudd leaves church as the numbers say he doesn't have a prayer.
Do you need a miracle to win tomorrow?
As a disabled choir, and it seems the caucus will stand by her as one minister ramped up his support for Kevin Rudd.
The man who beat John Howard is best placed to beat Tony Abbott.
While another minister supporting Mr Rudd conceded it was all in vain.
Public indications would suggest that Julia Gillard will win.
Peter Garrett, demoted by Mr Rudd over the home insulation fiasco, said he wouldn't work under him again.
I wouldn't seek to serve in his ministry, even if he chose to ask me.
Mr Rudd said he feared the verbal assaults on him wouldn't stop if he does lose.
What I already sense is the emergence of round 2 of a campaign. The process of character assassination of yours truly.
As both candidates called for healing.
I believe we will unite following tomorrow's ballot.
It's time for us to unite rather than to divide.
Both sides concede it's now just a question of how badly Kevin Rudd loses and what he does next. Some of his supporters are already talking about trying to draft him into the leadership without a vote, unless Labor's electoral fortunes improve sharply in coming months. Mr Rudd repeated his promise today not to mount a second challenge.
She will have my unequivocal support between now and the next election.
Labor MPs started gathering in Canberra this afternoon.
Well, I'm strongly supporting the Prime Minister.
I support stability. I support the Prime Minister.
Look, I do think Julia will win easily.
Suggesting they will vote along the lines of the Prime Minister's footy jumper today. Gillard won. And prevent Kevin's second coming. This time. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Jeff Parry is in Canberra for tomorrow's vote. Jeff, how will it unfold?
Sally, it'll be a short, sharp caucus meeting here in Canberra tomorrow. Less than an hour to decide the leadership question. And no one expects Kevin Rudd to win it. And that includes Mr Rudd's own supporters. Of course, you never say never, and it is a secret ballot. But Mr Rudd's numbers haven't improved according to the number crunchers. He could get as few as 28 votes tomorrow or as many as 35. But that's way short of the 53 votes he needs to beat Julia Gillard and become the Prime Minister again. So Ms Gillard is in the box seat tomorrow. The smart money is on her. If you follow such things, one punter has bet $300,000 to win $30,000 that Ms Gillard will win. Mr Rudd's odds have blown out to $10. And what happens after the caucus meeting? Well, Kevin Rudd will become one of the most closely watched backbenchers in the parliament for any signs that he hasn't given up his leadership ambitions. Sally.
Thanks, Jeff. The leadership vote is expected to take place around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, West Australian time. 7's extended coverage starts on sunrise, which will be broadcast live around WA from 3 a.m. local time. Police say a $100,000 reward has generated new leads in a 2-year-old murder mystery. Josh Warnocky was killed on a roadside in Broome. Grant Taylor reports.
Family and friends gather to remember Josh Warnocky. It's 2 years to the day since the 21-year-old was found dead on this Broome street. But now, thanks to the offer of a $100,000 reward, there's renewed hope someone will finally be held responsible for his murder. Police have told 7 News they've received new information that it's hoped could finally crack this case open.
For the family, I guess it restores our faith in humanity and the human spirit, and there really are people that do care out there.
Since the reward was posted on Friday, police say they've received calls from around Australia. They won't specifically reveal what the new information is, but homicide detectives are now back in Broome, as well as other locations around WA, chasing up leads. On the night he died, Josh was on his way home from a night out with friends. He stopped at McDonald's. These CCTV pictures, the last images of Josh alive. His body was found minutes later on the side of the Old Broome Road. Police say he'd suffered severe head injuries. There's no apparent motive and no murder weapon has ever been found.
It's okay to come forward, call through to Crime Stoppers. We really need your support.
Grant Taylor, 7 News.
A Perth woman whose father died after he was punched in the head says she's lost faith in the justice system. Wayne Dedman's attacker could be out of jail in December. Blake Johnson reports.
I miss him really bad, that he should be here.
5 months after her father's death, Ebony Dedman suffers every day. Her pain now made worse, she says, by the sentence handed down to the man who killed him.
It's 2 years and 6 months and I get my dad in a box.
Wayne Dedman was punched in the head in September last year. An unprovoked attack, say police, by 37-year-old Frederick Blurton. He's now in jail, but if he gets parole, he'll be out by the end of this year.
There's no message for society, you know, okay, as long as you hit him with one punch, you won't get long.
Ebony says her sister Tace has spent almost 3 years in jail for robbery offences.
She didn't hurt nobody, let alone cause anybody to die. And she's had to sit in there and have both her parents die while she was in jail.
Wayne Dedman was 53. He was terminally ill, sclerosis of the liver. Doctors told him he had a year to live, time he'd promised to spend with his family. Cut short by one punch.
I don't think he put any value on his life.
Blake Johnson, 7 News.
Arson is being blamed for a fire that destroyed a Holmes West property in Redcliffe early this morning. Firefighters were called to Morrison Street after neighbours reported the fire. The blaze started downstairs and caused $150,000 damage. No one was inside at the time. And a fire at a Wangara smash repair shop has caused $250,000 damage. Fire investigators suspect it started when a nearby car caught fire. Fair trading officers have launched a nationwide crackdown on conmen from the UK who come to Australia to rip off innocent victims. If the fraudsters are caught, they face deportation.
This is the moment alleged conman Hugh Carmichael realises he's been nabbed.
Oh, this guy was a particular lowlife. We've been tracking these guys for months.
He's believed to be part of a conman crime wave. UK travellers who fly to Australia in summer to swindle their way across the country. Some, like these travellers we filmed in 2008, sell dodgy goods from the back of vans.
Are you ashamed of ripping people off? Why you go?
Others, like Carmichael, are called bitumen bandits. Unlicensed asphalters who perform cheap and often unwanted work to make the sting. New South Wales Fair Trading began tracking him after he approached Waverley Bowling Club.
The club was offered a really good deal on some asphalting. Half the job was done, and then the tradesman came in and said, we want more money.
The bowling club refused to hand over any money. But across Australia, nobody knows how many victims are being stung by the travelling conmen. Mike Duffy, 7 News.
In just a few hours, almost every hairdresser, stylist and makeup artist in Hollywood will be busy transforming film stars for the 84th Academy Awards. And with no Australian actors nominated, our hopes for Oscar's glory rest with a producer and a film editor.
The world's media has descended on Hollywood, prepared for the hectic hours ahead.
It's always cold, so you don't wear your high heels, nobody's going to see them, you know.
Sydney Ray's Kirk Baxter has his wardrobe sorted. The editor won last year for The Social Network. He's hoping for a back-to-back win with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I was wise and bought a tux the first time this happened, and I luckily still fit in it. So I just keep wearing the same thing.
Fellow Australian producer Grant Hill is nominated for Best Picture for The Tree of Life, starring Brad Pitt.
We're there, so we have a chance, but I think that it's a slim chance.
The Best Picture category is shaping up as a showdown between George Clooney's The Descendants and indie darling The Artist. The silent film has been the surprise hit of this year's award season. It would be the first French feature to win the coveted gong. The George Clooney and Brad Pitt bromance could be tested. Both are up for Best Actor. Meryl Streep and Viola Davis are favourites for Best Actress, and longtime friends Octavia Spencer and Melissa McCarthy are competing for Best Supporting Actress. In Hollywood, Angela Cox, 7 News.
Stay with us here on 7 News. Ahead, new hope for stroke victims, plus health scare. Nelson Mandela in hospital. And a dramatic arrest as store owners fight off an armed robber with hot meat pies. For many stroke patients, the simple act of eating and drinking is too hard. But Australian researchers are working on a new therapy which aims to help patients get back their gulp. Doctors say Nelson Mandela is resting comfortably after being admitted to hospital with a stomach ailment. It's understood the 93-year-old's had a procedure to find out the cause of the problem and hopes to be out of hospital within days. But this latest health scare has many South Africans worried about their former president.
It means a lot to me and my family as well.
The statesman's family has also moved to reassure the public, saying he's in high spirits. Rupert Murdoch has personally watched the first edition of his new British tabloid roll off the presses. Called The Sun on Sunday, it'll replace Murdoch's defunct News of the World, which was closed because of its journalists illegally hacking into people's phone messages.
Is it different from the News of the World?
Very different, yeah. It's The Sun. Very much a full and proper edition of The Sun.
3 million copies of the new paper are being printed. An armed robber copped more than he bargained for when he tried to hold up a convenience store. He was showered with hot meat pies before running off empty-handed. Tonight he's still on the run, but another police manhunt has had a dramatic ending today.
Wearing a bulletproof vest, his handgun drawn, a police officer yells orders at the occupants of this car pulled over in an Ascot street. They're forced onto the footpath as the large police operation draws to a dramatic close. Police at Boona are still looking for a man who tried to hold up a convenience store with a knife overnight. He didn't make it past shop owner Chris Napper, who grabbed a broom.
Jammed it in front of the knife and said, "Get the hell out of here, mate."
Chris's wife Melissa threw a tray of pies at the would-be thief. While police have warned shop owners about taking on armed robbers, Chris and Melissa say they have no regrets.
It's not his money, it's mine. I'm the one that worked for it.
Neil Dawley, 7 News.
And Chris Young's here with sport now, and Chris, controversy at the SCG.
Sally, it surrounded a couple of run-outs in the one-dayer, but there was also some good cricket too.
Sehwag goes to a great Corton bowl.
That was simply brilliant.
And dunking time in the NBA.
Looks like we're in for dry skies this week with some cooler nights on the way too. We dropped to 12 degrees this morning around 6 o'clock, then a top of 26 today. The current temperature in the city is 21 and the wind is south-southwest at 20 kilometres an hour. On the chart, we just have a weak cold front currently moving along the south coast, and under the influence of that system we'll see some showers along the south coast parts of the southwest and south coast tonight, with also some showers and storms in the Kimberley, eastern Pilbara and northern interior firing up this evening, and a few showers and storms also in parts of the goldfields. Now tomorrow across the state we can expect a high to develop across the south, with isolated showers in onshore winds persisting around the south coast just to the west of Israelite Bay. Also a few showers and storms for the Kimberley, eastern Pilbara, northern interior and northeast Gascoyne. We may actually see some fairly heavy falls with some of those storms, and a few showers and storms also through the central and northern goldfields. Around the rest of the country tomorrow, wet weather is the story for most of the east coast. We can expect a top of 29 degrees in Sydney, 30 in Brisbane, 26 in Canberra, 27 and rain also in Adelaide. On the water in Perth tomorrow, southeasterly winds are expected, 18 to 23 knots, with seas sitting around 2.5 metres on a 3-metre swell. The forecast in Perth is for mainly sunny skies with light to moderate south to southeasterly winds for our Monday, a top of 29 degrees tomorrow, heading for then a top of 31 degrees on Tuesday with just a touch of cloud, mainly sunny on Wednesday, same again on Thursday, a top of 29, Friday 30, and then it looks like a clear start to the weekend with a warm sunny finish as well. And that's 7 News for this Sunday. We hope you enjoyed your weekend. Now stay with us for Sunday night with Chris Barth.